Welcome back to Blender Frenzy. I am Justin, and today we are looking at Blender 2.83 and the VSE updates. Now, 2.83 is the first long-term release, long-term support, LTS. And yeah, so we're going to check it out, see what it looks like with the video sequence editor, which is pretty cool. So I've checked it out a little bit, and we're just going to go down the line of the developer page, or the new release page, I mean. And yeah, so just click out of this, just open up a new Blender. I'm gonna open up video editing and video editing workspace. Everything is the same here, like normal. I don't think there's anything that really changed for the browser, so I'm just gonna collapse that into that. And now let's open up Shift A. Okay, I'm just gonna open up one of my videos from my Easy Borders course. Okay, so now this is pretty cool. So they've changed a lot with the look of the strips, which is really cool, but we'll get to that. Okay, so let's go to the Wiki page here, and I'll put a link to this down in the description. But let's just go down the list here. So here's a video sequence editor, disk cache to store cached frames on disk instead of only in memory. This can be enabled by going to Preference, System, Video Sequencer. So let's do that. Let's go to Edit, Preferences, System, and Video Sequencer right here. So you can actually choose the memory cache limit. This is, of course, how much memory you used for the cache, but now you can also include the hard disk for cache, and you can set that directory. Now, I did try this, but it really didn't make anything faster. It actually really slowed down my computer because it was writing to the disk, and I don't have a solid state drive really, so it might work better with those. I don't know. I'm just going to keep that off, but just so you know, that is there. That is new. Okay, and let's go to the next one. So we've got revamped strip drawing. I'm going to actually open this up in a new tab here, because that is the look and the feel of the actual strips now. So let's, I'm going to scroll in here so we can make this a little bit bigger. We're going to go down the list here. Thicker and clearer selection indication. Yes, this is awesome. In previous Blender versions, if you selected it, it would have this white outline on it like normal, and then it would make the strip darker. Well, now it's not making the strip darker, and if you select more than one, so I select this strip and then shift select this one, now it acts just like it would in the layout. So here we've got one selected, and then if I shift select this one, this is like a lighter orange yellow, and this is a dark orange. But if I go into tab into edit mode, and I select one point here, it's white, and then I shift select the other points, and the point that I selected last is white and the rest are orange. So that is very similar to what's happening here. So if I select one of them, it's white. If shift select another one, then that one becomes white. That's the active selection, which shows up over here. Oh yeah, and I guess I should probably move my big head out of the way. What's over here in the preferences is going to be your active selection, the one in the white. And you can see multiple selections. You have the orange outline, which is it's selected, but it's not active. Now before, again, it was just a highlight. So this strip would be darker, but it wouldn't be that much darker. It wouldn't be that much of a difference. So I would always not know whether or not I had that selection. Now there's no mystery. It's we know both of these are selected. I really like that. That's cool. Okay, so let's go back here. Slimmer handles. That is really cool too. So if I come back over here, if I select this, you can see the handles. I don't even have to select it. Shift B to zoom in. In previous versions of Blender, these handles here on the end were really huge, and they had a little arrow pointing one way or the other. They've gotten rid of the arrow and they've slimmed them down a bit, and I think that's cool. I like that. The only thing I don't like about it is if I select my sound strip here and then I choose display waveform, what I don't like is, let's let the strip preview load here. So what I don't like is if I kind of zoom out here and I want to kind of trim this, so I'm going to take this and drag it. You can't see what's directly behind it, and especially if I scroll out, you can see it's covering more of that waveform, when sometimes you need to be really accurate. So you'd have to scroll in quite a bit in order to see what is behind that. But it's actually not that big of a deal, so Yeah, it's good, but I like the change. It looks sleeker. Okay, what's next here? More transparent muted strips. Okay, select strip H to hide it or mute it. I don't know why they call it mute when it's H, hide, but that's what it is. So yeah, I think they made it more transparent, so you know what's muted and what's not, or what's hidden and what's not. I didn't really have that much of a problem with that before. I think Alt H, yeah, Alt H is to unhide it. Okay, trim frame number is drawn inside the strip. Yes, so this is, if I select one and then I press G and I start to move it, you can see that frame number over here in the bottom corner, G, and as I move it, you can see it changing. If we zoom out, I'm just press home to zoom out of all of my strips, and I press A to select all of them, and then press G. You can see that you have on each side of the strip, you have the frame number. So that's what frame number each handle is touching. And they used to be outside of the strip, now they're inside of the strip. And this is a lot cleaner because before, when you would select the strips, you would have all these, especially if you selected your whole scene, you had all of these numbers outside and it just got really messy. So I like that too. That's pretty cool. So undo, let's just snap those. Oop, Shift S to snap those back to our playhead at frame 1. Okay, next one is strip text is drawn in upper part of a strip. Oh yeah, so we have our waveform, and what this used to do is used to write over that waveform. So it was really cluttered, and now it's a lot more clear. So I like that. So I can go all the way across the top, and we don't lose sight of our waveform. Okay, next, color strips now have a specific color with chosen color drawn under the strip text, and that is gray. And I don't know if I like this one so much, but hey, it's not that bad. So I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna go over here and add in a color, and let's Shift B to drag a zoom box over here, zoom box. Okay, so then we have the color name, and it's a gray strip over here. So if I select my color strip and come over to our properties and then change that color, you can see that the top color doesn't change. And that's just to identify it. So like if you're having a scene here and you see that, oh, here's your color. I don't know why you would need to identify it because, I mean, it's a color. You would think that you would know that's a color strip because of the color that is put in there. But whatever, it's not really that big of a deal. So next, transition strip will use color of input strips showing the direction of the transition. This is really cool too. So I'm going to duplicate this here and make this color a different color. And now if I select this color here and then shift select this color, Shift A to add in a transition cross. Ta-da! You can see the transition effect here. So we're fading from green to blue or purplish or whatever color that is. And then you can see that effect happening up here in our preview. That is pretty cool. And there's some more stuff visually like this too. Okay, next one, selecting effect strip will highlight the input strips. Okay, and that's with our transition. So if I select the cross fade here, it's going to highlight the two strips that it's affecting. It doesn't really highlight it that much, so it's kind of similar to the highlighting selection that the previous Blender versions had. It's kind of hard to tell if they're selected or not, so that's really not that big of a deal to me. Okay, next. Selecting multicam strips will highlight target channel. This is cool. I haven't actually used multicam strips very much. But what that is here, let's just Control End to make that our frame range, and I'm just going to cut this here, both of these, K to cut, and then grab these and put them over here. Okay, a multicam strip is if I Shift A and then add in an effect strip, multicam selector. I'm going to stretch this out. Let's see. Let's go to our strip all the way down to time. and then just drag this out. And then I can select our handle, grab, control to snap that. So a lot of this stuff is the same functionality of the strips. But the multicam strip actually selects which channel wants to be shown. And oh, I also just noticed this. I didn't notice this when I was messing with it before. But the channels you can see line up so much better. Like when you zoom out, you can tell if I select this that this lines up with channel 5. You can see that right over here. That is beautiful. In the previous versions, it didn't do that. Everything just kind of bunched together, so you didn't actually know which channel was which. But this is a lot cleaner. Ooh, I really like that. But anyway, so you see you got the channels down here, and the multicam selector will select those channels. So, and it will recognize how many channels are below it. So you see I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. Well, if I take this strip and I grab it and I move it up, it'll start to add channels. So now there's 7 channels underneath this multicam strip, which is on channel 8. But now if I select the channel, it's going to highlight which channel it's showing. And that is really cool. So if I highlight channel 2, it's going to show channel 2 in our preview, and it's going to highlight it down here. If I want to switch to channel 4, it's going to show this channel only in our preview. And this is for if you're editing and you have a lot of stuff that's overlapping in the same time. Like maybe you have a scene where you have 2 people talking to each other and talking over the shoulder. You can just put them right underneath each other and then switch back and forth really quick. So if I decided to do channel 4 until here for some odd reason, and then I wanted to switch to channel 2, I just go to this frame, select channel 2, and then it switches. Now this is showing channel 2, and this one is showing channel 4. Channel 2, channel 4, see? And if you just play it, it will switch automatically right here. And of course, you can't. It's pretty much the same footage, so you can't really tell. But if you had, again, 2 different angles, or maybe you had the webcam full screen and then you had your desktop full screen, you could switch back and forth between them like this. But anyway, this isn't a multicam tutorial, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just select both of those and delete those. What's next? Missing media state is now indicated by a red line drawn on the top part of the strip. This didn't happen for me. So if I decide to change my source to a different folder, I'm going to go ahead and if I come up here and I just say accept, okay, so now it can't find the footage because it's using the wrong folder. The footage isn't in there, but there's no red line. So I don't know if that's just a glitch, if it's just my computer or whatnot. Or maybe I'm interpreting that wrong. I don't know. Missing media state is now indicated by a red line drawn on the top part of the strip. I don't see a red line. So yeah. And it doesn't even show here that it's missing media. I wonder if I just delete that altogether. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, doesn't do what I interpret it supposed to do. But okay, so next, checkerboard pattern is now drawn on the outsides of the meta range. Okay, so to make a meta strip, we just kind of select what we want, Control G to group them or create a meta strip, and then select the strip and tab inside of the strip. And this is what it's showing over here and over here. It's just a more clear representation of that meta strip range here than before. Okay, next one. Hold still regions are now always drawn if existent with a darker shade of the strip's background color. Now, I actually don't like this one that much. So, for example, if I just take this and I start stretching this out, now, because this is a meta strip, it's easy to tell that that's hanging on that last frame there. You can see here. What it used to be clear, like transparent, which I like that because it means there was nothing there. But if I go in here and then I select just this strip and then I move that out, you can see it's a darker version of this. So you can still see where the footage ends, but it's a little bit misleading because it still looks like something is in here. Whereas if it was clear, it's just, again, more obvious that there isn't anything here. So, whatever. Okay, Alt-G. Oh, Shift-Alt-G. Okay, there we go. got rid of that meta strip there. Okay, and that is all of that. So let's go back to here. And we've got a few more. Show F curves for opacity and volume values on the strips. So this is getting closer and closer to stuff like Sony Vegas, Final Cut Pro, and Adobe Premiere. If I select this here and I just say, let's go to opacity, let's put a keyframe on opacity right there. And then I come over here to say 0 and then set a keyframe here. Now you can see the F curve. So it's you can see visually, which is so nice. You can see visually when it starts to fade out. So right here, it starts to fade. And oh, I have this. Let's just go ahead and hide this underneath it so that we can see that fading out. And you can see how long it takes. And then it's from here to here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And it will do that with sound too, I believe. So we've got our sound volume. We'll just say I here to create a keyframe, and then let's go to the end and let's just do keyframe there. Oh, let's we got to make this 0 first, and then I have to add a keyframe there. Yep, so there you go. You can see that's when it fades out, and you can also see that the waveform is affected as well, which was there before. Okay, next one, adjust last operation panel. This is new. So if I, let's see, grab and then set it there, you can see down here, sequence slide. So this is what I did, and you can have some options. So depending on what you're doing, if I make a cut, you can say split the strips, which by the way, now it's called split instead of cut. So we've got a split here and then a hold split, which is your hard cut. But this here is something that they added to the layout view if you did something here. So if I move this on the X, right there, you can see, boom, here's our move option. It's basically they've just added that to the video sequence editor. Okay, so if I cut, there we go, split strips, and say frame. Oh, I can change the frame right here. Ooh, which one? Oh, where we go? Oh, I can change from a soft cut to a hard cut. I can change the channel, and then this side, whichever side you want to be selected after the cut. So yeah, pretty nifty. All right, next, toolbar and color sample tool. Okay, so I haven't played with this much, but over here, toolbar, press T, and we have two options here. So we have a blade, which is basically is just the cut. So that'll cut, but it gives you a little cursor here, and if I just select, it just cuts wherever I select or click. And that's cool if you know exactly like where you want to make some cuts. Like I say, I want to make cuts here and here and here and here. And if you do your claps or your audio well enough to know where you need to make those cuts, this could really speed up your editing. Just cut here, cut here, cut here, and then then you can switch back to the select mode and then select these and then delete the ones that you don't need. Okay, same thing up here. If I press T, we've got a sample. So I don't know how this works. So I've got it clicked here. Is that sampling? Oh yeah, look at that. So if I click and I hold, I'm sampling that color from the preview. That's pretty cool. So you'll have to mess with that. I don't know if it actually grabs it. Let's see. We're gonna do this right now. We're gonna grab this red here. Let's go over to our color and change this one. We're gonna Control V to paste. Nope. It apparently didn't select that. So I'm not sure. We'll see. Sample color. I'm looking down here, by the way. Sample color. Oh, sample color. I wonder if let's go to the red and right click. Paste. Huh. Nope. Don't know. You'll have to play with that. Okay, next one. Option to select handles with box selection. Oh yeah, this is kind of cool. So yeah, so now we have Uh, Before, you'd have to select the handles by clicking one, shift clicking the other to select both of them. Now you can just box select those puppies, I think. Oh yeah, I think it's Control B to box select the handles. Yes. So regular box select will select the strips. Control B will box select the handles, and Shift B will make a box zoom. So there you go. Okay, there's another thing that I want to mention. It's not new to Blender 2.83. They had it before, but it didn't work with my Blender. It would just crash it. And that is this prefetch frames here. If you can't see this, just press N on the keyboard while hovering over the preview and under the view tab, and you see prefetch frames here. If I click that, you can see, oh, look at that. It's starting to cache those frames in here. Now it's only going to cache in to the limit that you set in your edit preferences here, and under system down here, video sequence editor, memory cache limit, I actually had to bring this down, way down, because I'm recording and it was messing up the recording, so I brought that down. But now if I press play, you can see that there's no glitching because it's already been prefetched, and it also recycles it. So once it finishes all of the cache, it recycles it to the front here. And that's cool. If I can make cuts here, press K, and this is a bit of a glitch here. Once I press K, then it just starts to prefetch the frames after. Little glitch, I think they'll probably fix that pretty soon, but all I have to do is back this up before the cut, and you can see it's prefetching those frames for me really nice. And now I can just play it, and it's smooth over that cut, where originally it would hang on that cut and then jump frames. Now, when I first tried this, it didn't work very well with other strips, like effect strips and stuff. So if I do a speed control here, add in FX strip speed control. You see anything that I add or take away that refreshes the preview, it will start this cache over again. But this time it looks like it's just fine. And I need to mute this because, let's hide that, because that's really loud. I have it muted for OBS Studio, but it's really loud on my end. So anyway, okay, so yeah, it looks like it's not lagging at all. Let's try box selecting these and Control G for a meta strip. Yeah, all right, well that's good. Let's add a speed control to the meta strip, and yeah, that's actually not too bad. So yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I had problems with it before, but it seems to be working fine now. Maybe with image sequences, it's a little bit slower. I'll have to just keep testing it, and you can keep testing it on your system too. But this is meant to be a substitute or a replacement for the proxies. If it doesn't quite work the way you want it, I would still resort back to the proxies, because I know that those work. Those have been a lifesaver for me. And I'll do a tutorial, I think, on that sometime. But yeah, that is your prefetch frames. Okay, well, that looks like that is pretty much it. I probably did miss a couple of other things, but I just wanted to at least go over initially of what is new in the Blender long-term release. And yeah, it's looking really slick, and I really like the direction that they're headed. So I'm super excited for the future of the video sequence editor. Stay tuned, and we'll get back to our quarantine series in the next video.